Obviously, you could see we are in the Portland Covenant Church today. This is one of the 3 cooling sites that we're opening, but that's in addition to a lot of other activities that we have going on. There are splash pads out there, there's pools, we have several libraries that are open till 8 p.m. today, several of them sort of extended their hours. Some of those libraries include Central, Midland, Gresham, and Albina. So we've got 4 libraries that are opening a little bit late today. We also started extended outreach. We actually started that last Thursday to some of the some of the groups that we were a little bit concerned about as we sort of entered into this hot period of time. National Weather Service indicates we're going to be about 100 degrees today, maybe 100 degrees again tomorrow, and we know the heat started yesterday. So as heat continues day after day, that risk grows. And it's one of the reasons why we're taking this step today, where we're opening up some additional cooling centers. The chair, Skavega Peterson, declared a state of emergency for today as well. One of the things that allows us to do is, if people don't have the means to get to a cooling center, TriMet will actually waive the fees so that they can actually get to a place to sort of stay cool on a day where we know that there's definitely some risk. We also know that one of the most important things that people could do is just, think about what they're doing during the course of the day. If you have to be outside earlier in the day, you might find a lot more of a reprieve than we get to sort of the hottest part of the day. We also know we want you to stay hydrated. Think about what you're wearing. Light-colored, loose-fitting clothing will definitely serve a little bit more. And definitely think about if you're actually consuming alcohol in the heat today. That's really a concern for folks, and it sort of changes. It might put you at sort of greater risk. If you have or know of someone that doesn't have air conditioning, this is the time we really want the community to reach out to those folks. So if you've got friends or family and you know they don't have air conditioning, just check on them, see how they're doing. And if they're in a situation where their apartment or house is really starting to warm up, encourage them to take advantage of one of the many resources that we have open. And you could read about all those resources on the county's Help for When It's Hot website, which is enormously helpful. Or they can call 211 and find out about some of those activities that we have going on as well. We have a lot of partners to make this happen. I mentioned TriMet will waive fees for some folks if you need to get to one of those cooling centers. The city is a great partner. They've got sort of misting stations and rec centers that people could sort of go to as well. But we're all working together to sort of put together what we think is sort of appropriate for, which is going to be probably so far our most significant heat event for this summer. So that's sort of a little bit of background, and I'm here to take some questions from anybody if they have them. Yes?
Why pick these locations?
I'm sorry, what was it?
Why pick these locations? Some people are saying that there's some other more highly denser locations, or these places with more dense population would be like the best.
Yeah, it's a great question. And remember, I think on total, if you go to our map right now, we've got 73 locations identified. There's really quite a spread. We have 3 cooling centers that we specifically open, and we do actually a bit of analysis of where we know there's some risk, and as we look at things like ED visits, as we've looked at sort of injury in the past. It's why we've got sort of a downtown location sort of in the heart of that zip code where we've sometimes you see a lot of buildings where the windows don't open up, and we know those buildings heat up a little bit more. So we do look at risk, but it's not just these locations, it's sort of libraries and across the whole board, and we're really happy that we're able to offer so many locations of people that can go to.
What about you activate overnight shelters?
Yeah, also a very good question. When we start to see temperatures that are really extreme, people probably remember the heat dome where we were seeing temperatures that were 118 degrees or so. We moved to overnight, but that was because we're also seeing lows of temperatures of 76 degrees. We're going to still get into sort of the upper 60s. It might not be very long today, but I think the National Weather's upper 60s. When we start to see temperatures really creep up into those 70s and we start to see sort of a longer event, we become a little more concerned, and that might be an opportunity that we sort of take advantage of. This being day 2, we know the risk is growing, not quite as much as if it was sort of a longer event. Also, August has provided some benefits because we know that people sort of acclimated a little bit more, obviously, as the summer goes on. We think about the heat dome a lot. That event being in June also presented a situation where it was so early, people had very little acclimation to the heat.
When your crews are out doing outreach, what exactly are they doing?
There's probably a lot of different groups, but I could talk a little about some of the county groups that are doing outreach. So starting Thursday, we work with a lot of organizations, and we're providing supplies. And so they're often working with a lot of the unsheltered, houseless community where they're providing water, they're providing electrolytes, but they're also giving them information about what's going on and where they might be able to go to sort of stay out of the heat. I believe they provide cooling towels as well, so there's supplies. But I think really the communication part for us is key. We want them to make informed decisions for them and know what is available to them.
When will we know if there is going to be an overnight shelter open, and if you guys are opening again tomorrow or not? When is that determined?
Yeah, so we have a call with senior leadership in the county as well as the city at 8 o'clock in the morning. So by 8:30, we typically make that statement whether, hey, we're going to activate or we're not going to activate cooling centers. Knowing that we're looking at probably the same temperatures tomorrow, if we do see 100 degrees, and knowing the risk grows, obviously we'll be prepared in these facilities if we need to sort of extend another day.
Can you speak a bit more to the health risks of staying outside, not being hydrated, maybe consuming alcohol, given all the events still happening this year?
Yeah, so a lot of this is about behavior, and there really is risk. So if you are someone that whether you do well in the heat or you do not do well in the heat, we really want you to think about what you're doing outside. And like I said, try to stay in the shade, but really try to avoid the outside if you can. That hottest part of the day is really going to be high risk for folks, and so we want to think about a lot of organizations where there's workers. If you've got to be outside, make sure that your workers also have water and could stay hydrated as well. That's really important, and maybe take some breaks from this extreme heat. And if they do start to receive some of those symptoms where they're getting dizzy or they feel really dehydrated, make sure that then they're getting the proper medical care.
Were you able to bring their pets here and the other temperatures?
Yes, our facilities, the cooling centers, will happy to receive pets, and often when we go to these locations, I could still remember the heat dome where the first thing you saw was probably about 100 dogs, and nothing makes me happier than walking to a building and seeing 100 dogs. So please bring your pets, and if your pet maybe is not ideal, we do have things like crates where we could sort of crate your dog, so there maybe would be less impact if this isn't the ideal situation for them.
First time you've been open all year, or how many times have you opened the cooling center this year?
Good question. This is the first time that we've been open this summer. It's also the first time that we've actually seen temperatures, I think, hit 100 degrees, which sometimes is about where we get there. We've prepped a few other times, but this is the first time we're activating.
Is there any difference between this year and last year when you guys opened up, or anything like that?
Yeah, last year we had probably people remember we had about a 5-day event. We were sort of hovering around 101 and 102. This event not quite as long. That event was also I think a little bit earlier in the season. I think it was in July. But every event is a little bit different. Last year we probably had 1 or 2 events that maybe had a little bit more risk associated with them. But this is the first one for us this year, and we want to take it really, really serious for folks.
What would you say to people who said the thresholds, these metrics that they're setting should be adjusted? That right now it does feel extreme for a lot of people who are living on the streets. They're more overnight shelters.
Yeah, so that is a really good question, and I also want to sort of say that we're happy to sort of offer these opportunities. Within the city right now, there are actually a lot of overnight shelters that are still available, overnight space that people can sort of go to. So if people do need to transition and want nighttime, I'm not saying that they just do that for the heat. We think that's sort of a great opportunity for almost anybody to sort of communicate and navigate that system where they can find sort of nighttime stay cool as well. But with nighttime lows, upper 60s, 70s, probably the highest risk are going to be to a lot of homebound seniors, where they're finding that their apartments are sort of heating up even more and more and more. And it's not just 70 degrees. Sometimes we'll hear about those apartments that are not getting below 80 degrees or 85 degrees. And that's really, really important for us to make sure they've got some use.
Can you just briefly...
Expanded 211 services are active?
So 211, I believe, is activated till 11 p.m. tonight. Yes.
just like what that threshold is exactly for people who are wondering year by year, just what exactly is that threshold decision to open it up?
Yeah, so when we hit extreme on heat risk, we open locations. That's an automatic. But we will sometimes have a conversation when we're at sort of red, which is sort of this major risk in heat risk. So it is not an automatic when we're at red, and today is a red day. It's not an extreme day, but it's a red day. And we walk through a lot of factors and when we're discussing this red day. So it's not, I'm not going to say it's specifically when we hit 100 degrees or whether it's 70 degrees at night. The reality is we've got to include all of these. And probably the tipping point for us this morning where there were a few factors we were really concerned with most notably, there's a little bit of humidity with this one, so you're seeing sort of this higher dew point. And so it's not just that when we see the temperature start to dip below this 100 degrees, it will still feel like it's 100 degrees for a few more hours after that. And that for us, knowing that we had 7 ED visits yesterday for health, and there were 11 calls that came in that had a heat component to it for sort of 911, that told us, hey, listen, let's make sure we get this information out there and let's take some additional actions. And that's why we're here today opening the schooling center.
We talked yesterday about it being in the red zone, and you guys didn't open yesterday. So was it those calls that you got yesterday that made you guys open, and what's preventing you from just being proactive and opening earlier?
Yeah, and I think there are a couple of nuances from yesterday to today. One, it actually yesterday was forecasted 97, so we had a couple degrees, cooler, and that matters. But also that first day, we typically see a little bit less risk, and then also we're seeing a little bit like a higher dew point today. So we're seeing all of these three things that really kind of said, okay, we're gonna activate these cooling centers and provide a few more opportunities for the community that may need them.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, great, thank you all.